Welcome to your gentle practice. We're working with the theme today of Ahimsa, and I love working with this theme because it forces us to really have to pay attention to how we are each time we arrive on the mat and to respect that. We can feel entirely different today to how we were yesterday, and there could be some little restrictions or tightness, or even the way you slept last night can colour how you are feeling this morning. So when we work with Ahimsa at the heart of the practice, we are inviting this sense of not forcing and not pushing, of non-violence in our practice in the physical sense, but also non-violence in how we're treating our thoughts as well. So not beating up on ourselves if we're not quite coming into shapes the way we want to. And I think this is a really good discipline to hold in place for the whole day, of course, because we can catch ourselves through the day beating ourselves up about this, that or the other, and just slip back into that mindset of Ahimsa again and be gentle with ourselves and be proud of what we are able to do and respect our boundaries. I think they're all very important. Anyway, we'll begin the session by coming to lie on the back. So if you're using a bolster today, you might pop that underneath your legs. And just getting comfortable here. Closing your eyes or softening your gaze. And inviting symmetry in how you're positioned now. So you might even lift your head off the mat and lengthen through the back of the neck and bring your head back down again, feeling a little bit more even in the spine. The two sides of the pelvis even. Palms facing the ceiling. Just pressing the pause button on any distracting thoughts, concerns or to-do lists. And giving yourself this time right now to be present for the practice. To be right here in this moment. Scanning through your body now. From the top of your head all the way down to your toes, and just being aware of where you might be feeling a sense of tension or tightness or fatigue in the body today. Also noticing where you might be feeling the opposite way, where there is a sense of vibrancy, of strength, of openness in your body. Aware that opposites are always present in your body. And welcoming everything about how you are physically, exactly as it is right now. And then paying attention now to the flow of your breath, the rise and fall of each breath you take. Expansive and soft with each inhalation, radiating from the center of the heart through the whole body. And then getting that sense of drawing energy back to the heart each time you breathe out. Opening into softness and expansion as you breathe in. And having that sense of drawing inwards and upwards as you let the breath go. And being aware of the little pauses in between the movements of the breath as well. Places where you can drop into the quiet and stillness that's always there right inside of you. Just by being present with your breath. When you're ready, let's bring the feet to the mat, bending the knees. And just gathering up the right leg now, let's bring that in towards the chest. Finding a neutral spine here, so a little space between the lower back and the floor. And as you're exhaling, helping that right leg a little closer into the chest. As you're breathing in, getting that sense again of expansion, of softness, radiating from the center of the heart, through the torso, through the whole body, sending prana around your system. And then when you're ready, we can release the right leg. Let's gather up the left leg now, bringing that in towards the chest. So again, starting by creating that little bit of space between the lower back and the floor so the spine is in neutral. The exhalation's helping you guide that left thigh in. And the inhalation's expansive, soft, and radiating prana through the body. Releasing from this now. And let's bring both feet to the top of the bolster or your pillow. If you're using that, we'll outstretch the arms here. Let's take an inhalation. And then as you exhale, we'll drop the knees towards the right side, keeping your feet up on your support. Now you might want to support your right knee with your hand in your forearm. You might let them just rest and drop over to the side, paying attention to what feels right for you today. We can gaze to the ceiling, or let's roll the gaze towards the left. Just checking in with the neck here. Lengthening out to the ends of the fingers of each hand, broadening into the left side of the ribcage. And then let's start to bring the head into a gentle roll from left to right. And then right to left, leaving the rest of the body just as it is. And the body in absolute stillness and quiet, other than this movement that we're taking with the neck. Just to pay attention to the little nuances in the movement as you're moving your head side to side. You might witness a little more tension or restriction on one side or the other. Well, this movement might be really fluid and easy. Whatever is there for you today, just welcoming that as it is. And then when you next bring your head to center, let's bring the knees back to center as well. And then we'll take them to the other side, to the left. So again, if you want to support your left knee with your forearm and left hand, go ahead and do that, or just bring the knees over. The feet are on top of the bolster. So initially either choosing to keep your gaze neutral or rolling your head towards the right. Lengthening out to the ends of the fingertips on each hand and broadening into the right side of the ribcage now. Still aware of that expansion of softness through the body each time you breathe in. And every exhale stabilizing through the midline. And then let's start to bring movement to the head, taking it over to the left side. And then returning it to the right. Nice and slow and gentle in this movement. And again, just paying attention without having any thoughts that are critical or judgy in the movement. We're just noticing the movement as it is and welcoming that. And then let's bring the head back to center, returning the knees to center as well. And we'll drop the soles of the feet in towards each other and the knees open wide. Let's rest the hands on the tummy. In our butterfly pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. Sensing a little bit of a back bend as we're holding this shape. A little bit more space between the lower back and the floor. And as we're resting in this position, just noticing any tension that is present in the back of the pelvis, perhaps even across the crests of the pelvis. Or perhaps you're sensing a little instability in the lumbar spine. It's a very mobile part of the spine. When we come to just resting and being still, sometimes things that normally escape our attention can come into a little bit more focus. When you take your next exhalation, let's engage the abdominal wall and bring the knees back together. And as you inhale next, take your arms wide and your knees wide, opening the chest out. Exhale, engage the abdominal wall, bring the knees back together. Let's wrap the arms around the body. Inhale, opening it all out wide again. Exhale, engaging the abdominal wall, crossing the arms over the body, the knees coming back together. Taking 2 more rounds of this, really allowing the breath to support the movement in the body. And then when the knees come back together again, let's stop for a moment. We're going to lift the feet off the bolster, just having a little rock or a little roll, playing around, just sensing into where you're feeling any need for massaging or release through the middle, lower back or higher up the back. See where your body's leading you. And then when you're ready, let's come back to our starting position again. We're going to take our belts now and take the belt behind the left thigh. And then let's take the right foot on top of the left knee. When you're ready, lift your left foot off your support if you're using one, letting the foot just dangle and taking a moment here to find that neutral spine position again. And then let's return to the breathing, using your exhalations to gently guide the left thigh in towards the chest. And as you're inhaling, imagine you can direct your breath into the right hip. So if you're feeling any tension in the right hip as we release the piriformis, inviting expansion, inviting softness there with your breath. And of course, if it's quite a strong sensation you're feeling in the right hip, you might not bring the left leg quite so far in towards the chest. You might release it a little. Really sensing into the edge, the boundary where your body says, stop here any further, and there's going to be discomfort. And when we stop at that edge and then just hand over to time and to awareness, we can start to really untangle little knots of energy, untangle sensations that sit there right at the edge. And sometimes by being patient and being kind and gentle, we can find a little bit more depth in the shapes that we're making. Not always, but quite often we do. When you're ready, let's breathe in now and raise the left leg into the air and flex the foot. Then on exhale, we'll bend the knee and guide the foot back down. Sending the leg back up into the air as you breathe in and flexing the foot. And then on exhale, bend the knee and guide the foot back down again. Continuing with this, staying even through the back of the pelvis and neutral in your spine, and letting your breath lead you. Taking one more round. And then let's release the left foot to your bolster. Let go of that shape Oh, what's my cat up to this morning? Knocking things over. Come back to center when you're ready, and we'll do the same on the other side now. So taking the belt behind the right thigh. Let's now take the left foot on top of the right knee. And then when you're ready, lift your right foot off your support. Let the foot just dangle. Take a moment to place yourself well here. So creating that neutral spine position again. Finding evenness through the back of the pelvis and the way it's weighted on the mat. And then let's come back to your breathing. Each inhalation, expanding into the left hip now with your mind's eye, inviting that quality of your breath, that softness into the left hip. And as you're breathing out, guiding the right thigh in towards the chest. Paying attention to sensation as you find it here. So perhaps not guiding that right thigh in quite as much if you're feeling it quite strongly in your left hip. Or perhaps sitting right at that edge. Again, and just handing over to time, to patience and to awareness. Continuing to visualize the softness of your breath. Expanding into that left hip. And then when you're ready, let's raise the right leg into the air as you breathe in, flexing the foot here, and then bend the knee and guide the foot down as you exhale. Sending it high again, breathing in, flexing the foot. And breathing out, bending the knee, guiding it down. Continuing with this and having that awareness of the spine in the movement. We're aiming to keep the spine neutral and long. The pelvis even and stable. And not judging the judging if any of that's going on. Making this one your last round. Releasing that right foot down. Let's put the belt to the side now. And we can put our bolsters off the mat. Setting up in desk pose now. So let's take a position where we feel the hips, the knees and the ankles coming in line with each other. That means a little space between the feet. Pressing evenly into the 3 points of support in your feet. And then let's breathe in and lift the hips and the chest into the air. Take your arms overhead or wide. Begin your exhalation and then start to roll down through the spine little by little. Releasing each and every vertebra back to the mat. Lifting into the shape, breathing in. Beginning your exhale and then beginning to roll yourself down. Perhaps closing your eyes in the movement so you can get more of a sense of traveling with every aspect of the spine in movement. You might become aware of places in your spine that seem to move as a bit of a slab or feel a little bit stuck. And you might notice too where there are places in your spine that just seem to roll out so beautifully and smoothly, and accepting all of that as it is. And being grateful for you for having taken the time to practice yoga today and to be with your body as it is. When you come into your next extension, not your next extension, when you come into your next elevation, let's hold there. And we're going to float the arms down to the mat now. So let's press the backs of the shoulders, the upper arms, the forearms and the hands into the mat. And let's really recruit the feet now, pressing into those 3 points of support in the feet, firing up the calves, firing up the thighs, the glutes and the abdominal wall. Sharing the load of this pose really evenly. And then when you're ready, let's gently roll down little by little, returning to the floor. Lift your feet up. Give your knees a little squeeze, a little rock, a little roll. And then when you're ready, coming back to center now, and let's get our blocks. Now, if you don't have a block, you can do this without, just leave the pelvis on the floor, that's absolutely fine. But we're doing a little supported inversion today, so we're going to pop the block underneath the bony mass of the pelvis, so nowhere near your lower back, under the actual bony mass of the pelvis. You can choose to have it quite low, or perhaps you want to take it a little higher. If you're taller, you might enjoy a little more height, but see what feels right for you. So let's now bring the back of the shoulders, the upper arms, the forearms and the hands into strong connection with the mat. Really feeling those foundations holding you steady and strong in this shape. When you're ready, lift your feet off the floor and let the feet just dangle, and that might be enough of an inversion for some of us today. And if that is, respecting that boundary and staying right where you are. If you want a little more challenge, you can send your legs high into the air. So perhaps having a little play with whether you want to point your toes or flex your feet. You're going to notice your legs in that movement. When we've got the feet flexed, there's much more going on through the back of the legs. When we're pointing the toes, you might notice more going on through your quads and through the sides of your calves. And getting a sense of an upward lift into this shape. Staying strong and even and grounded in your foundations. Expansive in your breathing. And every exhalation, that opportunity to consolidate, to draw prana back to the heart. Radiating it from the heart each time you breathe in. Taking one more round of breath here. And then when you're ready, bend your knees. Let's stay here for a moment. Again, pressing into your foundations. Still sensing that upward lift of energy from the earth to the tops of the knees. And then release your feet to the mat when you're ready. We'll lift the block out now. Pop it to the side. And let's take happy baby now. So we'll take a hold of your feet or your ankles or your calves. You might even take a hold of the back of your thighs, and we'll separate the feet out. So what we're aiming to do in happy baby is simply to flatten the back against the floor. So there are no prizes for having your hands around your feet, because this is all about just getting that sensation of releasing the back to the earth, drawing the belly button down towards the floor, drawing the backs of the shoulders towards the floor. Some people like a little movement in happy baby. Some people like to stay perfectly still. Just enjoying that release. Being present with your body as it is. Being kind to you. And when you're ready, release whatever you're holding on to, and let's roll over and come onto hands and knees. Just taking a few rounds of cat-cow here. Following your body's lead here, perhaps you want to hang out in one shape or the other. We're just moving through these cat-cows simply to explore the spine and to invite symmetry into the body. And taking one more round of cat-cow. And then taking your exhale to child's pose. Now let's open the knees wide. You might choose to bring your head down to your block, or you might bring it right down to the mat. Welcoming your breath into the back of the body, into the sides of the ribs, and letting the weight of your head fall into the third eye between and above the brows. Putting a little pressure on this spot, helping to really settle the nervous system right down to soothe the body and the mind. And then when you're ready, let's come back up onto all fours. Walk the hands back towards your knees. And we'll inhale now, take a big circle around the body, lengthening out through the spine. As you exhale, take a twist towards your left, pressing through the air. Take your arms high again, breathing in. And then twisting to the right now. Take your arms high, breathing in. And then exhale, come back to sitting on your ankles, lower the hands down by the side of the body, and we'll come onto the back now. Just finishing our practice with a few rounds of Apanasana. So lifting the feet off the mat. Taking your hands over your knees, and we'll inhale, sending the knees and the feet away. Bringing the knees into the chest as you exhale. And you might play with taking your arms wide or overhead as you send your legs away. Just being attentive to what feels best for you today, where you can walk right up to the line of where challenge ends and discomfort starts. Working at the edge, being patient and kind to yourself, not pushing through anything. Taking one more round of Apanasana. And then let's prepare for a relaxation. We'll take the feet as wide as the mat now. Drop the knees into the middle. And just resting your hands on your tummy. Every exhale releasing you to the mat. Every inhalation nourishing your body with breath, with prana. Appreciating the effort, the discipline and the focus that you've put into the physical part of the practice. And also appreciating now the rest. Appreciating the balance between efforting and releasing. Taking a moment to meander through your system again, from the top of your head down to your toes. Being aware again of sensations as they arise in your awareness. Not just sensations of tightness or fatigue, but also sensations of vibrancy, of lightness, of ease. Grateful for it all. And when you're ready, let's roll over to the side. Just resting your head on your upper arm for a moment and taking a little bit of time to reorient. And then when you're ready, let's come up to a comfortable seated position to finish the practice. Let's meet with our hands at the heart center now in Anjali Mudra. Returning to our intention of keeping Ahimsa in our hearts in this practice and in the day ahead. Of appreciating the efforts that we put into what we're doing, but not forcing, not pushing anything, being kind to ourselves and giving ourselves that gift of patience and of time. Thank you for practicing with me today. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.